Hi, this is Ed. Welcome to another drop for EDTalks. And today our guest is a very special guest because, I have an affinity obviously for the military and the Army specifically because that's where I received a lot of my leadership training and some of my early clinical training. And so I'm always thrilled whenever I have someone from the military, especially the Army, join us. So today I want to introduce you to Peter Wynn. So welcome, Pete, to Ed Talks.
Thank you, Ed. No, appreciate the invite and looking forward to our talk.
So I know we're going to talk, mostly about leadership and things like that, and a little bit about what you do as the chief digital officer, the first one for Army medicine. But this really is reflective of your own personal opinions.
No, absolutely. So I would start with a quick disclaimer. So you see myself right now is as Peter Wynn in civilians and not Colonel Wynn. And the opinions expressed today is for myself only and may not be the official positions of Army Medicine, Department of Army, and Department of Defense. But that said, yes, looking forward to our discussion.
Yeah, it's cool. And we've known each other about 10 years. We met each other at a Chime boot camp. And again, I'm always drawn to the military personnel that have joined the boot camp. And I always thrilled to share whatever I can and learn from my military comrades. So it was really cool in that way. So I want to start off with this, Pete. What's the best customer experience you've had in this past year? And it could be in anything. It could be work related. It could be non-work related.
That's a great start, Ed. So I would say that this is not healthcare related. But my best experience was actually with American Express. I had a very challenging scenario with customer service as far as ensuring that I get my credits based on travel, etc. I know that that feature was not available on the web. It was not available on the apps. And so I knew that if I called in to our customer service rep, I would be bounced to several agents, as experienced by many of our customers. But I tried their chatbot, and lo and behold, it walked me through. I was on my way to the airport, popped up my app, logged in, authenticated. Once I logged in, I was able to quickly drill down. They asked a few questions, make sure that it is the right thing that I'm asking for, the right request, etc. And 2 minutes later, I got a successful transaction, a very happy customer. I knew that if I had gone any other way, it would have been hours waiting on the phone, getting bounced through a number of customer service agents. But I thought that was amazing technology, right? An amazing customer experience. I would have not gone through any other way as far as getting that experience. I would also say is that that was before the release of ChatGPT and some of those generative AI capabilities. So I'm looking forward to where the technology and where the future is going.
Yeah, it does help make things super seamless. Yeah, I think we're sort of that transitionary stage, because I know both of us are probably fans. I can't speak for you, but I'm assuming of USAA, and they have a chatbot, and it's getting there. It's definitely on its way. But yeah, it makes it a lot easier when you have that sort of technology at hand. What's one thing, Pete, that your parents forced you to do when you were a kid and you were like probably eyes rolling and stuff like that? Um, so you weren't really happy about it then, but now as an adult, you look back and say, "Oh, I'm glad they sort of took me down that path."
I'm not sure I have the same sentiment even today, but like most kids, you know, our parents, my parents in particular, forced me to clean my room very frequently and throw away old stuff. So I would say that that really resonate with me even to today, especially in our space with our medicine and digital health and a lot of things we do. We have a lot of old systems, a lot of old things that needs to go away, right? A lot of old legacy systems. We've just recently modernized our electronic health record system, 40-year-old system plus,
Yeah.
right? Built back in the 1980s, was built using MUMPS, right? I don't know if you're familiar with MUMPS, but
Yeah.
that is that the Massachusetts General Hospital Utility multi programming mainframe language. We still, it's still active today. We have migrated our EHR from this old legacy system to now Cerner and now Oracle Health, if you're tracking. But we still have this mainframe operational. It is still actually fairly efficient. Our doctors really love it still. It was amazing. But it needs to go away. We have a lot of those type of technologies that we do need to get rid of or modernize so that we can have room to bring in new emerging technologies. So I think that's been, I think one lessons that I've kept. Not sure I like it, but certainly something that has been a part of my life until now.
Yeah, that's a good one. And yeah, you're not alone from a military perspective about old systems that never seem to go away and hang on. So tell us a little bit, Pete, about your story, like personal, professional. Like, how did you grow up and then become the first chief digital officer of Army Medicine?
Yeah, so I just share with you that I just got promoted to colonel after 12 years being a lieutenant colonel. So it's a long time coming. But one of the things I did share during my promotion speech last week was my humble beginnings. I started as an immigrant to the United States during the Vietnam War, escaped Vietnam in 1979 as one of the I would say the first, but certainly one of the 2 million refugees that escaped Vietnam, with only 800,000 that survived.
Yeah.
Along with my parents and 2 siblings at the time. But it was certainly a humbling experience, right? We were left with nothing other than the backs of what we have, on our shoulders. And we started in Newark, New Jersey, 1980. Started first grade there, and then second grade we moved to Seattle, Washington. It was a little warmer. And my uncle was there, and so that's where I grew up. Went to University of Washington, and also joined the Army RGC program, Kinnear Husky Battalion, where I got my start with the military. Always loved technology. I've been building computers since I was in high school. My first computer was a Compaq, I think one of the Compaq portable systems, and then upgraded to a Apple IIe, which was just I think a 2GS and then Apple IIe later on. But I've always been a fan of technology. Joined the military not to do technology, but I want to be an Army doctor. I thought that was the purest form of medicine. But lo and behold, I realized that even Army medicine and the DoD medicine is very similar to what our civilian medical professionals face with, budget, resource constraints, all the things that we do as part of business healthcare. So I realized I didn't want to be an Army doctor and pursue my master's in technology instead. And my first job was a healthcare IT project manager in 1996. The PMBOK, right? The book of knowledge, right? Project Manager Book of Knowledge was released in 1996. So I had no clue what a PM is supposed to be doing. But the PMBOK really guided me and provided me this start to be a IT professional. And I've gone through and been with the military since 1996 with a break, actually. And I'll tell you a little more stories about that. But it's been a very humbling experience for me. And I couldn't be more honored to serve the military and have the opportunity to really expand where medicine, digital health is going, and really the digital transformation of Army medicine moving forward.
Yeah, no, that's an amazing story, and probably one that you or your parents could write a book about for sure. Let's talk a little bit about Army medicine, and then we're just going to move into digital in general and leadership. Tell us anything interesting that you can share about facts and figures around Army medicine. Like how big, when you say Army medicine, is, how big is that?
Sure. So we're a global organization, about a $7 billion operation, 60 hospitals around the world, 400 clinics, 250 dental clinics. We have lab, vets, a lot of research organizations. On any given day, we see approximately 20,000 outpatient services, take care of about 180,000 forward deployed military, 20,000 dental procedures, 100,000 pharmacy prescriptions, lots of labs, lots of just medical procedures. One area that you may not be familiar with or probably aware, we have vets as well, right?
Yeah.
Working dogs. And those gals and guys take care of all of our food, right? All of the food inspection programs and et cetera. So we do that around the world, and on any given day, any of the dining facilities or any of the areas where we take in food, et cetera, we have vets that are responsible for those operations.
Yeah.
But today,
Yeah.
yeah, I guess today there's one thing that I want to caveat is we've undergone tremendous transformation, and that is understatement, because we've historically, our medicine have taken care of patients around the world, right? Hospitals, clinics, et cetera. The last 2 years, we have transformed. We have outsourced a lot of those healthcare delivery functions and missions to a DoD-wide organization called Defense Health Agency, DHA in short. And they are now the outsourced provider to take care of all of those. And now our focus is really our war fighters, ensuring that we have the right personnel and military capabilities to deter and win the war as necessary.
Yeah.
So
No,
for most, yeah, go
yes.
ahead.
I was saying I'm very appreciative of Army medicine because I was a recipient. I've been in, I've had surgery in Army hospital, and had a lot of my care growing up in Army hospitals around the world. So I appreciate what you all do and have done. So yeah, you just talk about the transformation. Let's talk about digital. And you already alluded to it already. Like, you have legacy systems, you brought in new systems. Is there one or two examples that you can give about how Army medicine is embracing digital?
Yeah, I think the good thing right now is, according to our Secretary of Army, Christine Warmoth, data is the ammunition of the next war.
Mm.
And we are certainly all in, right? We're all in because our near peer adversaries are all in. And the great news for me as the Chief Digital Officer, the first in Army medicine, I'm guided by a number of strategies at the DoD and Army level. We have the national defense strategies, we have the Army medical modernization strategies, we have the Army digital transformation strategies, Army transformation modernization strategies. A number of these really guide where we're going. So for Army medicine, we are at this point at a cusp as far as where we're going and where we're investing. So for me, it's about, and I'm guided right now primarily on two strategies. The Army medical modernization strategy that really looks at where Army of 2030 and beyond looks like, as well as the Army digital transformation strategies, right? Focusing on those data, those components of how do we going to bring data and execute data at the edge, tactical edge, to ensure that our warfighters have the necessary data, the information they need to win the war as needed, right? So for us, we're investing a lot of capabilities and really focusing on those underlying cores within our medicine. I'll touch base in a little bit, but really there's three pillars that we're really focusing on. The first pillar is our workforce, right? Showing that they are trained. We have the right people and right talent. We have the recruiting and meeting those recruiting goals, which is challenging across the Army and the DoD at this point. But really also to retain. How do we retain those talent that we have? And then a lot of this areas around the plumbing, right? The technology enablers. How do we get those capabilities for that will enable us to accelerate digital and digital transformations with cloud, machine learning, AI, robotics, et cetera. So those are the plumbing that we need to put in place and try to do that across the warfighter continuum, right? Not just in CONUS where it's easy, right? Our fixed facilities, our nice multi-billion-dollar hospitals.
Yeah.
Try to do that at the very edge, right? And then Shirley is providing a lot of process changes related to medical readiness. How to ensure that we have a medically ready force, right? Ensure that they have the right skill sets, training, sets and reps to enable their execution during wartime, but also them as a soldier, right? Are they ready to go to war? Do they have those, remember the physical, the Army PT, right? AP, that's the ACFT, right? Army combat fitness tests. And so are they ready, right? Are they medically ready? All those shots and stuff. So that's where our focus at this point is bringing all of that together, do so in a digital fight.
Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, and CONUS is continental U.S. for our non-military listeners.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember it was so ingrained to me when I was in the military. I'll never forget a lot of the nomenclature that was very specific. So yeah, you're doing a lot of great things, and it is great that there's great messaging that comes out from the leadership in terms of, hey, here's our different priorities. How do you collaborate with others? So what's your style in working with like key customers or even vendors?
Yeah, I think I'm like most government personnel, right? With key customers, so my stakeholders, we have essentially deliberate meetings and conferences, right? And as a 3-star headquarters here in Falls Church, Virginia, we do a lot of site visits, right? We go out to our stakeholders and ask, what do you need from us?
Yeah.
How do we support you as a warfighter, right? What's missing? What are the gaps? What are the capabilities? Fortunately, I'm supported by a number of other organizations within Army Medicine. Particularly, we have our medical capabilities developer, right? They are the ones that take a lot of the requirements across the organization, not just the Army, but the entire DoD, and concisely go through, manning, doctrine updates, policy updates. How do we do training? How do we make sure that the laws and policy and resources are available, et cetera? And then we, in turn, take all those requirements and now develop strategies, and as well as how do we source it and take that to the next level.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good. What about your ideas? So how do you gain new ideas for yourself? So because being a CDO, that's a pretty big deal. And I imagine you're always wanting to think about, what's the next thing? How do you go about just getting your ideas?
I'm just smart and from the no, I do a lot of reading. A lot of my first thing I do in the morning is open up my news app, which I use right now, Google News for the most part. I use Gartner. A lot of vendors, talking to smart people like yourself, industry partners. I go to a lot of conferences, right? Chime is one that you and I share. We started our boot camp 10 years ago. HIMSS, our other organization, but primarily we have a lot of industry partners that we collaborate on a regular basis. The folks that are already in the government sector that we already have relationships with, and then a lot of collaboration, along the way with different meetings and conferences.
Yeah. Before we leave digital and Army Medicine and head to leadership, what's one or two things that you're most proud of that you've all done out of Army Medicine, in the last couple of years since you've been there?
Well, the first thing I'm most proud of is actually just being a dad, to tell you the truth. I have now a 16-year-old and a 3-year-old, and having a loving family on. So I'll say that's my thing that I'm most proud of.
Yeah.
The second thing is probably be able, have the chance to serve and join the military. I think that's it's where I met my wife. We met on a medical mission when I led a medical team to Vietnam, where we just took care of patients. She was one of the interpreters that was working for the U.S. Embassy in Vietnam, and so we were connected. I think given current efforts, I think I'm most proud of leading and having a chance to try and experiment on where digital transformation looks like for our medicine, helping develop the initial set of strategies on how do we transform and accelerate at scale, right? We do a lot of great things in RN medicine and throughout the Army, pockets of excellence, a lot of new prototypes and pilots along the way. We just don't do it very well at scale, right? How do we take capabilities that are proven effective in one area, one organization, one unit, and then apply that quickly across the formations, throughout the world where we operate.
So Pete, this is another really interesting story for another time. But so you're on this medical mission. You show up in Vietnam to your home country, origin of birth, and then you meet this. Hey, I really like this interpreter here. And so you guys connect, and then you just keep in touch with her, right? Like you go back to CONUS and you keep in touch with her, and then one thing leads to another, and eventually it leads to romance.
Well, yeah, definitely another story to share, maybe over a beer. But bottom line was that we met on a medical mission about 10 years ago, and thanks to Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook, we stay connected.
Yeah.
And so happens that her boss at the U.S. Embassy is a good friend of mine, and her boss's boss is a good friend of mine. So we really there was a tight connections from the very beginning. But that's another story, probably over a beer.
Yeah, no, that's great. I love romance and how people get together, and so it's always fascinating to me. So, what's one thing that the Army taught you about leadership?
Yeah, I think there's things that I've learned and probably learned the hard way. And one of the things I learned that leadership is best when you're assisting from the bottom up, right? Not from the top down.
Yeah.
And so I embrace servant leadership along with many others. I think that I found that to be most effective. Certainly was not the case when I was a young butter bar joining the military, right? I knew everything. I was the smartest one on the team. That is not the case. I found that being a servant leader, empowering our teams, ensuring that they have the right tools, the right skill sets, the right training, and let them get out of the way and let them do what they need to do to execute missions. So I found that very effective. I think I still have room to grow and really perfect that, but I think that's for me. I found that to be the best leadership style is to support my teams, be the cheerleader as needed, right? Ensure that I protect them when necessary, but get out of the way, right? Give them the tools, the resources, the funds, and let them do what they do best.
Yeah, no, that's a good lesson. Yeah, and again, for our uninitiated, butter bars, second lieutenant, it's like first officer rank that you achieve, and it looks like a stick of butter because it's gold in color and rectangular. But yeah, oftentimes all of us come out of school like we know everything, and we quickly find out that we really don't. So, what is the hardest decision you've ever had to make?
Yeah, I think for me, and as a military officer, probably the hardest thing, and still is sending a soldier to the front line. And so for me, it was in Afghanistan. I had a young private just graduated from his training, and we had we supported the entire Afghanistan, and that meant that we had to send my young private to go up very far from one base to the next and take care of a failed satellite, right? The entire unit in that location, the medical unit that was there, it was a Norwegian, Latvian medical team with embedded U.S. military docs, and they had no medical communications. And the only thing they had was a failed satellite dish. And so we had to send this young signal private from one base all alone by himself,
Wow.
fly from one base. He not only had to fly, but he had to also convoy, right, on a truck from where he landed to this base. And so that was very tough. It was a very tough decision, but fortunately everything worked out. We provide him with the right resources, the right training, the right motivation. But in particular, we made sure that along the way, he was taken care of. But that was certainly the hardest thing for me.
Yeah, that's a tough call. What's the best advice you ever received?
Yeah, I think it'll probably be from my dad. Given what we've gone through, really is to never give up.
Yeah.
As long as you put your best effort, then you can say that you didn't fail, right? You did what you can, and you made all the attempts. I've certainly in my role, I've shared this with my other peers. So I've been passed over from lieutenant colonel to colonel at least 5 times.
Hmm.
Most people would probably say, "Okay, yeah, I'm good. Lieutenant colonel is good enough," and leave the military. For me, the timing was not right, especially when I had about a 10-year break in service when I left the first time, and I came back realizing I'm going to be challenged to make promotion because I didn't do some of those jobs that are needed to advance. But I want to come back and serve and retire from the military. And having said that, I've successfully completed what I can, and I've done my best. So fortunately, everything worked out. I was able to pick up colonel before I leave the military the second time. But I think the lesson learned from my dad is just never give up. Try your best, and we'll see what happens. And I think the Lord is looking out for me. I think
Yeah.
and my family. So appreciate that.
Yeah, that's great. And again, for sort of the uninitiated, yeah, if you get passed over from promotion once or twice, especially the second, third time, it's usually not a good indicator, right? And so it's easy to say, yeah, I've had a respectable career, and definitely a lieutenant colonel, very respectable career, very respectable. And to stick it out and get the training and all the stuff that you needed to do and check all the boxes that you could says a lot about you, and how you were raised, and yeah, and the goodwill of our Father in heaven. So that's really cool. That's another full story, right, to unpack someday. So proud of. I mean, not that you need to hear it from me, but I'm super proud of you. I'm just glad that you're in the military. You're just a fantastic person. I've gotten to know you over the years, and super happy we're having this time together. So as we end, I want to just ask you, we covered a lot of different areas. We covered sort of your personal journey. We covered Army medicine, CDO role, and then we went into digital and leadership. Is there something we missed, Pete, or something we talked about but you want to double down on? I'll give you the last word.
I think we can't talk about digital without talking about what's the elephant in the room with ChatGPT and generative AI. So I want to double down there, right, and talk about that a little bit. I think for me, I'm very optimistic, cautionary optimistic on where this technology is going. Personally, I've used it and it blows my mind what it's able to do. I've talked to doctors that have been using it personally, and the things that they're able and able to do is amazing. There are some cautionary tales on this, right? As we work and advance, especially technologies that are just so powerful and probably applicable to any parts of our lives moving forward. But we just got to be cautious and build some frameworks, some boundaries around how we can apply it, some ethics, regulatory challenges, the biases that come with it, right? As far as how the data is being sucked into these models. So I'm very optimistic. I think the world and how healthcare and RN medicine is going to change dramatically by being leaders, thought leaders on how do we really effectively use it, and start testing it, right? Evaluating where are those boundaries that we need to explore and put the regulatory breaks that's necessary. But I'm very pro. I think most digital leaders probably would agree, but we got to be very careful about it.
Yeah, that's a good way to end our time together. Pete, again, thank you for your service to our country. Thank you for being on EDTalks.
Awesome. No, thank you for having me. This is my first Ed Talk, as well as being on YouTube. So thank you for making it easy.
Yeah,
being
you're great. You're great and natural. So thanks again. And everyone, thanks for watching. I know you have a lot of different choices of things to watch and consume for education. I'm just glad you spent some time with me. Thank you.